Trigger warning. This video discusses topics that include self-harm, psychosis, substance abuse, mental health crisis, and wrongful arrest. If any of these topics are triggering, click off now. If you choose to stay, please take care while watching and feel free to skip or pause if anything feels overwhelming. This is a longer video where I go in depth, so feel free to watch it in parts or come back later. If you're in Canada and having a mental health crisis, the truth is, you're often on your own. We're told to reach out, call a hotline, go to the ER, ask for help. But when we finally do, the help is either unavailable, delayed, or dangerous. Emergency rooms aren't equipped for mental health. You can wait 10 to 16 hours, even in a small town, just to be seen. That's if you're lucky enough to get a bed. Many are sent home without treatment. I know this because I was one of them. In this video, I'm going to get a little vulnerable and personal. I've been struggling with mental health since I was 13 years old, and I am 28 as of right now. But back then, people thought I was just a bratty, rebellious teenager and that I'd grow out of it. But I wasn't just acting out. I was hurting myself. I was trying to unalive myself. Eventually, I did go to the ER to seek help, but every time they would just patch me up and send me home. No therapy, no plan. Just the message, you're not sick enough to stay. As I got older, it only got worse. I turned to substance and alcohol to numb the pain. It became trauma stacked on trauma until my body and mind couldn't handle anymore, and I slipped into psychosis. The first time when I had an episode, I blacked out in the hospital. I woke up in restraints, tied down to a bed, and I was locked in a room that felt more like a jail cell. A toilet in the corner, a bed, and nothing else. Security stood outside my door as I waited for a psych bed to open up. I was put on a Form 3, and a Form 3 is an involuntary hold for 15 plus days, and only allowed to leave with approval by psychiatrists. It wasn't until my third psychotic episode that the system started to take me seriously. And the truth is, even when I tried to get help the right way, I was constantly given the runaround. I'd be told about programs and services, that support was available if I just reached out, but when I called those numbers or followed the instructions, I would be denied the very service they offered. No follow-ups, no explanations, just dead ends. It left me and the doctors who were trying to help me jumping through hoops, confused about how the system even worked. Each person I talked to had a different version of what to do next. And in a crisis, that kind of confusion isn't just frustrating, it's dangerous. And usually by then, the damage had already been done. People assume there's a clear path to recovery, but the reality is, even when you're begging for help, you're stuck navigating a maze with no map. And during my second episode, oh boy, I had burnt a lot of bridges during this episode. A lot of people in my life didn't understand, so I wasn't allowed to be around them until I got myself better. So, you know what the hospital decided to do in that situation? The hospital discharged me and had one of their social workers drive me to what seemed to be a halfway house. It was infested with bugs, full of substances, and surrounded by people preying on the mentally ill for money. They controlled my finances, and there wasn't even a light in my room because someone had stolen it to smoke substances out of it. And when I was there, I started showing signs of slipping back into psychosis. I was confused, paranoid, and clearly unwell. But instead of the staff calling the hospital, the people running the place called the police on me. They didn't treat it like a mental health emergency. They treated me like a threat, not a patient. I was arrested instead of being hospitalized, and they knew I was in the psych ward before arriving to this house. Like I mentioned before, a social worker from the hospital dropped me off there, so they were very aware of my situation. I ended up in the legal system, facing charges for things I only did because I was in the middle of a psychotic break. Thankfully, the court recognized my circumstances and I was found not guilty. But I still carry that trauma because the people who were supposed to help me chose punishment over protection. And when I ended up leaving that house, I put myself in a more dangerous situation, one that added more trauma to everything I was already carrying. And that's where I slipped up after being 3 years sober. A year had gone by since then, and I was back in living with my family for one final chance to prove to myself that I can change and do better. I got sober, I stopped drinking, and was taking my meds regularly. But I got in a relationship too quickly. We jumped right in, and it felt like everything was gonna be okay. It felt like I was in love, and yeah, I was happy at that point. But turns out it was just another person using me for financial gain and a place to stay. All the while, still trying to heal from the traumas that happened to me in the year prior. And when that unraveled and truth came to light, I had another psychotic break due to the heavy stress. But when I had my third episode and put on a Form 3 again, but that was when they started offering me real help. I got offered a case manager, therapy, and real support. And even now, my family and I ask, why did it take 3 psychotic episodes to be offered help? Why didn't this happen the first time I begged for it? Why does the system wait until you break down completely before it starts to care? In small towns like mine, we're in a full blown mental health crisis. People are in intense stress, doing unwell, waiting for help they should have had years ago. And for those of us who survive, we're just supposed to carry the trauma of how we were treated when we're at our most vulnerable. We need emergency care that treats mental illness like the medical condition it is, and real long term support, not punishment disguised as treatment. Because right now, the system isn't saving lives, it's delaying the help until it's too late. I'm finally in a better place now. I'm sober, taking my meds every day, and staying on my own routine. I'm healing one day at a time, and I'm almost a full year free of psychosis. I no longer hurt myself, but it shouldn't have taken 3 psychotic episodes, an arrest, and years of trauma to get here. The system just isn't broken, it's reactive, confusing, and dangerous. And I'm definitely not the only one who's been failed by the system. There are thousands of people in Canada still waiting for the same help I was finally given. We don't need more speeches or awareness days, we need action. We need real crisis care, real beds, real support before people fall through the cracks, or worse, they don't survive. Because nobody should have to go through what I did just to be heard. If you've been through something similar, you're not alone. And if no one's told you this yet, you deserve real help. I'm a survivor. I'm still here, but I'm finally being heard. And I won't stop talking about it until more of us are. This is Unsolved of Canada, signing out.